Ambassador sat in the vast chamber of the Galactic Council. His body was made of crystal that glowed with a soft blue light. Around him were other beings from 100 different worlds. Some had many eyes, some had no eyes at all. Some were made of energy, some were made of stone, but all of them had one thing in common: they believed that humans were not important. Had visited Earth only once. He had watched from a ship in the sky as humans lived their lives below. He had seen them work together. He had seen them help each other when times were hard. He had seen them dream of things that seemed impossible and then try to make those dreams real. What he had seen made him very afraid. "The humans are a danger," said to the council. His voice was clear and strong. "We must be careful, we must be ready." A tall being made of pure energy moved forward. His name was, he was the leader of the people, made a sound like fire crackling in a forest. This was how they laughed. "Humans are nothing," said. "They have barely left their own planet. Their ships are slow. Their weapons are weak. They die so easily. Why should we fear them?" Tried to explain. He told the council about things he had seen. He said that humans could learn very fast. They could work together even with beings very different from them. They would die for people they loved. They would fight even when they knew they might lose. They would never give up hope, even when hope seemed foolish. "You speak of hope," said the Archon of this being had lived for 10,000 years. "All creatures have hope. What is special about humans?" Did not know how to answer. He did not have the right words. In the language of his people, there was no word for what he had seen in humans. It was a feeling that made them do things that did not make sense. It was a force that made them strong when they should be weak. "They dream," said finally. "But not like other beings dream. They dream of things that cannot happen, and then they work very hard to make those dreams real. I do not understand it, but I know it is dangerous." Made his fire sound again. Soon other beings were doing the same. They were laughing they thought he was foolish. They thought he was scared of nothing. The council voted. The vote was clear. No one believed that humans were a danger. The humans would be watched, but nothing more. Even said that they should move into the space near Earth. He said that humans were so weak that they could take over their planets without any trouble. Left the council chamber knowing that no one had listened. He had tried to warn them. They had not heard him, or maybe they had heard him but did not care. Far away on Earth, a woman named Helena Torres was doing her own thinking. Helena was a soldier. She had spent 20 years learning how to fight and how to lead other soldiers. She was very good at her job. Her instincts about danger were almost always correct. People called her the paranoid commander because she was always ready for trouble, even when others thought there was no trouble coming. Helena had been reading reports about the galaxy. She had been listening to reports about alien ships. She had been studying the way that alien beings moved in space. Something was changing. Something was coming. She could feel it in the same way that an animal can feel a storm coming before the sky turns dark. Helena went to the leaders of all the nations of Earth. She went to the United Nations Security Council. She told them that Earth needed to be ready. She said that aliens might come. She said that they needed to prepare in secret. "We must build weapons," she said. "We must build defenses. We must get ready for a war that we hope will never come." Some leaders thought Helena was crazy, but others listened. They saw something in her eyes that they could trust. They saw that she was not trying to start a war. She was trying to stop one. She was trying to save lives. The council voted. The vote was close, but it passed. They gave Helena money and power to start a program called Operation Fortress. This program would be secret. No one outside of the highest leaders would know about it. The humans would build in the dark, preparing for a danger that might never come. Helena gathered the people on Earth. She brought together scientists and soldiers. She brought together engineers and doctors. She brought together people who were experts at many different things. They all worked together with one goal: to make Earth safe. They built hidden stations on the Moon. They built hidden bases on Mars. They sent secret ships to the asteroid belt. They made weapons that no one in the galaxy had ever seen before. These weapons did not work like other weapons. They worked with speed and thinking instead of just with power. Years passed. 1 year became 2 years. 2 became 3. 3 became 5. The humans worked in secret. They trained in secret. They prepared for a war that most people did not even know was coming. Helena Torres stood in a secret command center deep under the Earth. Around her were screens showing all the space near Earth. She could see the hidden stations. She could see the secret ships. She could see the defenses that would protect Earth. "Are we ready?" asked James Carter. He was a young military officer who had become Helena's second in command. He was smart and brave and very good at what he did. Helena looked at the screens for a long time before she answered. "No," she said finally, "but we will never be completely ready. All we can do is prepare and hope that when the danger comes, we are prepared enough." Battle fleet came out of the black empty space without any warning. One moment there was nothing. The next moment there were 10,000 ships. Each ship was huge. Each ship had weapons that could destroy a city in one blast. The commander of the fleet was called Prime. He was very sure that this would be an easy victory. His orders were simple: move to Earth, show the humans the power of and force them to give up without a real fight. But Prime did not know that humans were watching. He did not know that every moment the fleet moved forward, humans were getting ready to fight. He did not know that Helena Torres had been waiting for this moment for 5 years. The alarm bells rang on every human base. Red lights flashed. Every screen lit up showing the enemy ships coming closer. Helena Torres stood in the command center and looked at the screens. Her face did not show any fear. Her hands did not shake. "Wake up every soldier," she said calmly. "Bring every ship to battle ready now." The hidden bases came to life. Ships that had been hidden for 5 years suddenly turned on their engines. Weapons that had been silent suddenly became active. The defenses that humans had built in secret revealed themselves to the galaxy for the very first time. They saw what was happening. Prime was shocked. He had not expected any of this. He thought the humans were weak and unprepared, but what he saw was something very different. "They are ready," Prime said into his radio. His voice was no longer confident. "Open fire, attack everything." The weapons lit up space with bright colors. The beams of energy raced toward the human positions. But the humans had learned something that they had forgotten: thinking can beat power. James Carter was in charge of the defense of the inner planets. His team had practiced this exact battle many times. They had thought about what they would do. They had planned for every attack. When the energy beams came, the human shields did not just block them. The human machines used math and science to turn the weapons around. Energy that the sent at humans came back at the ships that had been sure of victory suddenly found themselves burning. Weapons that had been proven for 1,000 years suddenly stopped working. They had never fought an enemy like this. "This is not possible," Prime said. "We are the nothing can beat us. Send more ships, send everything." But more ships meant more weapons coming at them. More weapons meant more chances for the human defenses to turn them around. The human defenses did not attack with anger. They attacked with math and speed and thinking. Morgan was the chief person who planned the human strategy. She sat in her own command center and watched the battle. She could see things on her screens that they could not see. She could see where they would move next. She could see what they would do before they did it. "They are learning," said to Helena. "They are changing their tactics. They are trying to find a way around our defenses." "Then we change too," Helena said. "This is what separates us from them. We can think and change faster than they can. We do not do the same thing twice. We learn and we adapt." The human defenses shifted. Where there had been shields, now there were weapons. Where there had been defenses, now there were attacks. The humans moved like water, always flowing around the hard walls of the power. One human ship was piloted by a young woman named Sarah. She had trained for this moment her entire life. When her ship was damaged by a weapon, instead of running, she moved toward the enemy. Her ship was small and fast. The big ships were slow and powerful. Speed won that day. Sarah flew her damaged ship right at a command ship. They did not think she would be brave enough to do this. They did not think humans could be so bold, but Sarah did it anyway. Her ship crashed into the command center and took out their main control systems. More human pilots did similar things. More human soldiers showed that they would fight even when it seemed hopeless. They showed that they valued protecting Earth more than they valued staying alive. They had never seen this before. They did not understand how someone could be so willing to die. The battle went on for 3 days. The fleet, which had come with 10,000 ships, was now down to 2,000. The rest had been destroyed or badly damaged. Prime sent a message on the Galactic Council. "They are not what we thought," Prime said. His voice sounded tired and scared. "They are strong in ways we did not expect. We need help. Send other fleets. Send everything we have." But did not send help right away. Was confused. He had been sure that they would win easily. He had not been ready for this news. He did not know what to do. Meanwhile, Helena Torres made a decision that would change everything. She opened all the human radio channels. She made sure that every human could hear her voice. She made sure that every soldier and every worker knew what was happening. "We are fighting for our home," Helena said. Her voice was strong and clear. "We are fighting for our families. We are fighting for our children and their children. We are not fighting to conquer. We are fighting to live free. Remember this and be brave." The message reached every human in space and on Earth. It reached soldiers in their ships. It reached engineers in their hidden bases. It reached people hiding in shelters underground. It reminded them all why they were fighting. It reminded them that they were not fighting for power or money. They were fighting for home. The ships that were still fighting began to move backward. They began to run. They no longer wanted to fight humans. They had learned that humans were not weak. Humans were hard and strong and willing to die for what they believed in. News of the human victory spread through the galaxy like fire across dry grass. Every being from every world was talking about it. The humans were no longer insignificant. The humans had beaten that was something that had never happened before. Some alien species saw the humans as a new threat that needed to be destroyed immediately. The collective said that humans were evil and must be wiped out. The Dominion said that humans should be caught and made into slaves. These civilizations began to prepare their own fleets and weapons. But other species saw things differently. Some alien beings understood that humans had something special. Some understood that humans might become great allies. The Elders of were a species that could read the thoughts and feelings of other beings. They were old and wise, and they had seen much in their very long lives. Elder spoke to the Galactic Council about what he had learned from reading human minds. "Humans do not want to rule the galaxy," he said. "They want to be free. They want to live in peace and build their own future. They are dangerous because they will fight to protect what they love. But they are not evil. They are not trying to conquer other worlds." Other wise beings listened to Elder, but the warlike species did not listen. They prepared their weapons and their ships. They began to gather a great army. The leaders of these species said that humanity had to be stopped before humans became too powerful. Back on Earth, Helena Torres gathered together the leaders of every human nation and colony in the solar system. She showed them maps and numbers and reports. The danger was very real. Many different alien species were preparing for war. The attack, when it came, would be much bigger than the attack. "They will come with millions of ships," Helena said. She did not try to hide the truth or make it sound better than it was. "We cannot win in a fair fight. We are outnumbered 1,000 to 1, maybe more." The leaders looked at the numbers and felt fear. How could Earth defeat so many enemies? How could humans possibly win a war against the entire galaxy? But Lee stood up. He was the chief engineer of Operation Fortress and one of the people on Earth. He had ideas about how weapons worked that no one else had thought of before. "We do not fight with power alone," said. "We fight with thinking. We fight with speed. We fight by making the cost of attacking us too high. We do not need to win in one big battle. We need to make them not want to fight us at all." Morgan had been thinking about the same things. She presented a plan to the leaders. The plan was radical and dangerous, but it was a plan that might work. "We recruit allies," said. "There are many smaller species in the galaxy that the big powers do not respect. We offer them something they have never had before, real friendship. We offer to share our knowledge. We offer to treat them as equals instead of subjects. We offer to help them and ask them to help us." The plan was approved. Human ships began to move through the galaxy. They went to worlds that the big powers ignored. They met with species that had no power and no voice. They made offers of friendship and trade and protection. And the smaller species listened. They were tired of being ignored. They were tired of being treated as if they did not matter. Humans treated them differently. Humans listened to them. Humans seemed to actually care about them as people. Within a few months, 17 different species had agreed to stand with humanity. These were not the most powerful species in the galaxy, but they had ships and weapons and warriors. More importantly, they had the will to fight. Morgan created a new strategy. She called it Operation Fortress 2. This strategy was not about winning one big battle. It was about making the enemy's supplies unreliable. It was about making their communication systems fail. It was about making it hard for them to organize and plan. "We cannot defeat them with power," explained to the War Council. "But we can make them afraid. We can make them doubt themselves. We can make them question whether attacking us is worth the cost. And in war, sometimes making your enemy afraid is better than having the biggest weapons." Lee and his engineers created new kinds of weapons and new kinds of tricks. These weapons worked in ways that the older civilizations did not understand. They used the principles of physics in new ways. They used mathematics and timing instead of just raw power. Human agents moved through the galaxy. They worked with the smaller alien speck. The moment came when the great fleet of the alien powers moved toward Earth. No one knew the exact number of ships. Some said there were 200,000. Some said there were 500,000. All anyone knew was that the number was huge beyond counting. They came with their massive war machines. They came with ships that burned hot as stars. The Dominion came with weapons that could crack planets. Behind them came dozens of other species that hated humans or feared humans or wanted the resources of Earth. It was the biggest military gathering that the galaxy had ever seen. Nothing like it had happened in all of recorded history. The oldest beings in the galaxy said that no military force had ever been this large. The humans were ready, not because they could match the enemy in numbers. They could not. They were ready because they had spent years thinking about this exact moment. They had prepared in ways that only humans could prepare. The solar system had been turned into a fortress. Every asteroid had weapons hidden inside it. Every moon had soldiers and defenses. Every planet had protected underground cities where humans could hide and fight. The humans had prepared not for victory, but for survival. The enemy fleet entered the outer reaches of the solar system. As they moved closer to Earth, they began to find human defenses. Small ships came out to fight them. Weapons fired from hidden locations. The humans attacked the supply ships and the communication ships. They slowed down the big fleet and made it hard for the enemy to organize and plan. But there were too many enemy ships. Even with all their preparation, the humans were losing ground. The outer planets fell to the enemy. The moon fell to the enemy. The asteroid belt was filled with fighting and death. Helena Torres made a decision that was very hard. She ordered all the human forces to move deeper into the inner solar system. She was letting the enemy move closer to Earth. Most of her generals thought she was crazy, but Helena knew something that they did not. "We are taking them where we want them," Helena said. She did not try to explain more. Her generals had to trust her. The enemy fleet followed the humans deeper into the solar system. Millions of ships moved toward Earth. The commander made radio messages saying that humanity was finished, that the end was coming, that resistance was hopeless. But Helena Torres opened a channel and replied calmly. "You are wrong," she said. "This is exactly where we want you to be." At that moment, Operation Last Dawn began. This operation was something that no one in the galaxy had ever seen before. Thousands of human ships emerged from hiding, but they were not attacking directly. Instead, they were sending something through space that moved faster than light. It was a computer virus. But this was not a simple virus. This was something that the greatest human minds had created. It had been designed to attack the systems that controlled the alien ships. It had been made to spread from ship to ship through their communication systems. The virus raced through the enemy fleet. Weapons systems shut down. Navigation computers failed. Communication systems stopped working. Suddenly, the huge army that had seemed so powerful was blind and helpless. The human ships attacked. The allied species attacked. The ships that could not move and could not fight were destroyed. The weapons that could not aim could not hurt anyone. The Dominion ships that could not see where they were going crashed into each other. For 2 days, the battle raged. The human ships moved with perfect coordination. Every move was planned. Every attack was precise. The enemy could only defend itself and try to escape. Prime sent a desperate message on the Galactic Council. His voice was filled with fear and pain. "They are destroying us," he said. "We are being killed. We cannot fight them. We cannot escape. Why did you not listen to the warnings about humanity?" The question had no answer. The Galactic Council had made a terrible mistake. They had underestimated humanity. They had ignored the warnings, and now the most powerful military force in the galaxy was being destroyed. The battle lasted for 47 days in total. By the end, the enemy fleet had been cut in half. The remaining ships were running away as fast as they could go. The humans did not chase them. They did not need to. The message had been sent to the entire galaxy. Humans were not weak. Humans were not easy to defeat. Humans were a force to be feared and respected. When the last enemy ship jumped away into the darkness, the people of Earth came out of their shelters. They looked up at the sky and saw that their home was safe. They had survived. More than that, they had won. Helena Torres stood in the command center and looked at the screens. All around her were her soldiers and her officers. They were tired and hurt, and many of them had friends who had died in the battle. "We did it," she said quietly. "We protected our home." James Carter came up next to her. He had been fighting in his ship for days without rest. He was covered in as the Galactic Council met again. This time they did not dismiss warnings. This time they listened very carefully. The humans had proven themselves. They had beaten an army that outnumbered them 1,000 to 1. They had defeated the combined forces of 50 different species. They had done this with fewer weapons and fewer ships, but with more thinking and more courage. Was offered a new position. The Council asked him to be the ambassador to humanity. It was a position of great honor and respect. Accepted immediately. He had known from the beginning that humans were special. Now the entire galaxy knew it too. Arrived on Earth and asked to meet with Helena Torres. They met in a room on a space station that orbited above the planet. They could see Earth below them, blue and green and beautiful. Millions of people lived on that planet. All of those people had survived the great battle because of the decisions that Helena had made. "Your warning saved us," Helena said too. "Not directly, but it gave us time. It gave us the knowledge that danger was coming. Without you, we would have been unprepared." Looked at the Earth below. "I tried to warn them, but they did not listen," he said. "I did not truly understand myself what made humans so special. I thought your hope was a weakness. I thought your willingness to help each other was something that made you less powerful. I was wrong. Hope is your greatest strength. Love for others is your greatest weapon." The galaxy was changing. The older civilizations that had ruled for thousands of years had been challenged by a young species that had barely left their home planet. But instead of this causing more war, it caused something different. Humans began to build. They built not just weapons, but also schools and hospitals and research centers. They built places where humans and aliens could meet and work together. They built not to conquer, but to create. Morgan presented a new plan to the leaders of Earth and to the Galactic Council. "We should build something new," she said. "Something that the galaxy has never had before. We should build centers for learning and trade and peace. We should build places where any being, no matter how small or weak their species, can come and share their ideas and their culture." The plan was approved. Humans and their allies began building these centers throughout the galaxy. They became known not as warriors, but as builders. They became known as the species that understood how to bring different peoples together. Lee designed ships that could explore the farthest places in the universe. These ships were beautiful and fast, and made with both power and thinking. James Carter became a teacher. He taught other species how to fight, but more importantly, he taught them how to think. He taught them that strategy was more important than power. He taught them that speed and flexibility were more powerful than size and strength. And Helena Torres became the chair of the Galactic Defense Council. This was a council that had been created to make sure that what happened to humanity would never happen to any other species. It was a council dedicated to peace and justice. One day, there was a ceremony in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council. All the beings from all the different species came together. They were celebrating 5 years of peace since the Great Battle. They were celebrating the friendship between humans and all the other species of the galaxy. Stood at a podium. He was about to say something important. The whole galaxy was listening. Every being knew that this moment was significant. 5 years ago, said, this council rejected my warning about humanity. We thought humans were weak. We thought humans were not important. We were very wrong. But that mistake taught us something valuable. It taught us that we must listen to warnings. It taught us that we must respect all species, no matter how young or small. It taught us that the greatest strength does not always come from the biggest weapons. Paused, he looked out at all the different beings gathered before him. Today, he continued, I want to speak not just for myself, but for the entire galaxy. We are sorry. We are sorry for not listening. We are sorry for the suffering that our mistake caused. But we are grateful. We are grateful that humanity has chosen to be builders instead of conquerors. We are grateful that you have chosen to share your knowledge and your friendship with all of us. And we are grateful that you have shown us a better way to live together. The beings from all the different species made sounds that meant they agreed. Some made musical notes. Some made clicking sounds. Some made vibrations that could be felt through the floor. It was a sound of unity and respect. That night on Earth, people gathered in cities and villages all over the planet. They looked up at the sky and saw the stars. They saw the gates to space that humans had built. They saw the ships that flew between worlds. They saw the future that they were building together with the beings of the galaxy. A young girl asked her mother, "Why are we so special? Why do the aliens respect us now?" Her mother thought about this. She thought about Helena and Anne and James. She thought about all the people who had fought and died to protect Earth. She thought about all the people who had built the ships and designed the weapons and created the strategies. "We are special," the mother said, "because we do not give up. We are special because we love our home and we love each other. We are special because even when things seem hopeless, we keep trying. And we are special because we learn to be kind even to our enemies." The child nodded. She did not fully understand yet, but someday when she was older, she would understand. She would understand what her mother meant. She would understand that humans had something that no other species in the galaxy had. It was not power. It was not intelligence. It was hope. It was the belief that tomorrow could be better than today. It was the belief that things could be made better if you tried hard enough. And that was what made humans special. That was what made the entire galaxy change. That was what turned a young species into one of the most respected and loved people in all of known space. The story of humanity had just begun, and the best chapters were still yet to be written. H and Dust, his eyes were red from lack of sleep, but he was smiling. "What happens now?" he asked. Helena looked out at the stars. "Now," she said, "we show the galaxy what humans can really do." They found the supply ships of the big military powers and made them harder to use. They found the communication systems and made them less reliable. They worked in the shadows, making the enemies of humanity question their own strength. The Galactic Council tried to figure out what was happening. They sent messages asking why their supply ships were failing. They sent messages saying that their weapons were not working correctly. They did not understand that humans were causing these problems. They thought it was just bad luck. But it was not bad luck. It was strategy. It was thinking. It was humans using their minds instead of just their power. And slowly, the confidence of the big military powers began to break. They began to be afraid of something that they could not see. They began to doubt themselves. And in that moment of doubt, the humans were getting stronger. Helena Torres made a public statement to all the beings in the galaxy. "We do not want war," she said. "We want peace. We want to live free and let other beings live free too. But if you come to attack us, you will find that we are harder to defeat than you think. Learn this. You can learn it too. Stand down, leave us in peace, and we will be your friends forever." Some beings listened, some did not. But the alliance between humans and the smaller species was now real. The humans and their allies had prepared in secret. They had built weapons and defenses. They had created strategies that the big powers did not expect. The galaxy was changing, and the humans were leading that change. When the last ship jumped away into the darkness, Helena Torres opened her communication channels again. She spoke to every alien civilization that was listening. She spoke to the Galactic Council. She spoke to himself. "We are humans," she said. "This is our space. This is our home. We will protect it. We will protect anyone who comes in peace, but we will destroy anyone who comes with weapons and hate. The Galactic Council told you about us. You did not listen. Now you know what we are capable of. Do not come back." The humans had won their first real battle with alien beings. They had won with fewer ships and fewer weapons and less technology. But they had won because they were fast and brave and willing to do anything to protect their home. The galaxy was starting to notice humanity. They did not know that humans were building. The Galactic Council did not know. The other alien civilizations did not know. The humans kept their secret well. But in space, far away from Earth, they were getting ready, had ordered his commanders to prepare ships and weapons. He was going to teach the humans a lesson. He was going to show them their place in the galaxy. He thought this would be easy. He did not know what was coming. He did not know that the humans had listened when the Galactic Council did not. He did not know that a single woman and her people had spent 5 years getting ready for this exact moment. He did not know that he was about to meet a species that was about to change everything.